Dear students, today I am taking up parliamentary democracy. You know, yesterday I started environmental setting of Indian administration topic. This topic is very important from the BPSC perspective. There has been question asked in BPSC from time to time. As you know, Indian administration is ecological phenomena. It is getting influenced by ecology and it also influences ecology. So here Indian constitution and its premises influence Indian administration significantly. So what are premises of Indian constitution? Like parliamentary democracy, then federalism, then socialism. Get your point? There are some other extra constitutional aspects also which influence Indian administration. For example, planning for democracy, then you can say human rights, bureaucracy, development, they are also included under environmental setting of Indian administration. In UPSC, this topic is called philosophical and constitutional framework of Indian constitution, and in BPSC it is called environmental setting of Indian administration. Getting point? Quantity and quality, both wise there is difference. In UPSC, students are supposed to go through some more topic like constitutionalism, political culture, bureaucracy, development. Getting point? But in BPSC, you are just to study. Then you can take up parliamentary democracy, federalism. Then you can take up socialism, etc. So today I am taking up parliamentary democracy in 53 to 55th and 56 to 59. This question was asked twice. In earlier also there has been question in this topic. So today I will discuss parliamentary democracy. India adopted parliamentary democracy after independence. At the time of independence, there was big discussion and debate over the pattern of governance. As we have option, we could adopt parliamentary democracy, presidential democracy, or any type of any pattern of governance as per our requirement. But as we had work experience with parliamentary form of government, a British pattern of governance, that is we preferred parliamentary form of government. There were other reasons also for adopting parliamentary form of government. Before going into detail, I will like to discuss some things here. Democracy can be divided into two heads: parliamentary democracy and presidential democracy. We adopted presidential democracy, a parliamentary democracy. In America, there is presidential democracy. I told England, India, Canada, Japan, etc. have parliamentary democracy. USA, Brazil, Russia, Sri Lanka, etc. had presidential democracy. Both are democratic pattern of government, but there is difference. The parliamentary democracy is based on principle of ministerial responsibility. Means the ministers are collectively responsible to legislature for their policy, their action, the action of their officials, etc. Getting point? Here, there is people who elect their representative, which constitute legislature, and in legislature, which political party or group of political party gets majority, forms government. Getting a point? Which is called executive also, under which there is administration which serves individual or public or people, you can say. So here authority to executive is not direct, it is indirect. It is direct, it is through legislature. Getting a point? So here you have one very specific characteristics, whereas where there is presidential democracy is concerned, it is based on principle of separation of power. Means legislature and executive are two differently located. People elect both separately. Getting point? People elect legislature, people elect executive, under which there is administration which serves individual. So legislature and executive are different. and they work on the basis of check and balance. So that is very important thing here. We adopted parliamentary democracy. I tell you one reason that was very important, that we had familiarity with this type of system. That's why we adopted this system. There were other reasons also for adopting parliamentary form of government. The second was that we had more trust and responsibility is compared to presidential democracy. In parliamentary democracy, there is more scope and amount of accountability and control. That's why we preferred this system. Third point, you can say that we had the development administration as objective, welfare state notion and objective, socialistic pattern of governance as objective. So we did not want conflict between legislature and executive, and this system gives guarantee. That's why we have adopted this system. In this system there is always chances of tussle between executive and legislature. Last time you might have heard there was lockdown in America as Congress did not enact the budget passed by American president. That's why the government was not in position to take up financial activity. So there's such type of thing you cannot find in Indian setup. So this is also one of the reasons. One more reason I must tell you, Indian society is plural society. Here are large number of races, caste, creed, and various types of persons live. They are also required to give representation in governance, which is not possible in presidential democracy. That's why the obvious choice was parliamentary democracy. So this is also one of the reasons for adopting parliamentary democracy. Then you can say this system is economical, this system is, you can say, convenient. You don't require to conduct twice election. Single election is sufficient. You elect your representative that constitute legislature, and in legislature which political party gets majority forms executive or government. So with single election you can have two institutions, but here you require two different elections. That is costly also. So this is also one of the reasons for adopting parliamentary form of government. So I pointed out 5 reasons for adopting parliamentary form of government. First, familiarity with the system. We have already worked with this system. Number 2, we have more trust and accountability. Trust, we did not want conflict between legislature and executive. Then our Indian society was having varied look, and that also suggesting to adopt parliamentary form of government. And fifth, I told it is economical and convenient. That's why we adopted parliamentary form of government. Getting a point? So parliamentary form of government has several features. Let me point out certain features. The first feature it has, there is 2 executive head. There can be 2 head of executive in parliamentary democracy. Our president is nominal or constitutional head of executive, and council of minister, cabinet, whatsoever you say, it is basically prime minister is the actual head. So in parliamentary democracy we have 2 heads of executive. Number 2, here there is rule of majority party. The party who has majority in Lok Sabha will form government. The moment it loses majority in Lok Sabha, it ceases to be in government. It requires to resign. So that is very important feature, that it is majority party rule. Means the party can continue only then when it enjoys majority in Lok Sabha. Number 3, you find it works on collective responsibility. All ministers are collectively responsible to Parliament and Lok Sabha in particular. Ministers are individually responsible to President and collectively responsible to Parliament. Next, in this political system there is political homogeneity. What is political homogeneity? All members of Council of Ministers share same political ideology. Even if there is coalition government, no matter, you have to develop some consensus and you require to share political homogeneity. For example, in UP, Maharashtra, you can say present government is basically a Shiv Sena government led by Uddhav Thackeray, and there are NCP and Congress as ally, or you can supporting party. So their political ideology are different, but they share the same political ideology presently. In Jharkhand also you can find the same thing. So what I mean to say that in parliamentary form of government there is political homogeneity. Then you can say also there is double membership. What is double membership? If you become member of executive, you also required to member of legislature. In India, there is provision you can take in the meanwhile 6 months within 6 months. If you don't take, then you require to seize the executive office. Presently, you can find this situation is emerging before Uddhav Thackeray. He is CM of Maharashtra, but he doesn't have legislative membership, so he requires to be. Otherwise, he will have to lose his office. So this is very important point. Next, you require that there is leadership of Prime Minister. Prime Minister is called leader of ruling party in Lok Sabha. He participates in the Lok Sabha proceeding. He gives leadership to the houses. He announces government policy. He ensures proper functioning of legislature, and he also, get a point, ensures the government policy or treasury bills should be duly enacted by the parliament. So this is the basic point. Next point, in parliamentary democracy, lower house can be dissolved, not upper house. Getting a point, this is also one of the important features. Means Lok Sabha can be dissolved, but upper house means Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. Getting a point, although it has 5-year tenure, but in the meanwhile, it can be dissolved also. If executive recommends Prime Minister President to dissolve it, then he is bound to do it. Then there is secrecy also. What is this? Minister take oath of office and secrecy. Then they maintain principle of secrecy while functioning. They cannot divulge any information to public. In the meanwhile, they require whatsoever decision is taken in cabinet or council of ministers, you are not supposed to reveal in public without any authorization. So this is a very important thing here. So what I have just tried to point out, I try to point out certain features of parliamentary democracy, like it has two heads of executive, then it has majority party rule, then I told that is collective responsibility, then political homogeneity, then I told double membership, then I told leadership of Prime Minister, then I told dissolution of lower house, and then I told secrecy are some important feature of parliamentary democracy. Get a point? Parliamentary democracy has certain merits on account of these features. So what are merits? First, there is harmonious relation between executive and legislature. So that facilitates proper functioning of government. So there is no some sort of lockdown between these two. So that is very important thing. We find that in parliamentary democracy, executive and legislature work as a team and they cooperate each other in the interest of proper governance. Number two, it is responsible government. Why it is responsible government? In fact, parliamentary form of government is also called collective form of plural government, or you can say responsible government, or you can say cabinet form of government, or it is council of minister form of government. Because here there is no single person who is heading government, it is group of person heading government. So this is very important thing here. So it is responsible government because it is responsible to legislature. That is very important thing here. That it prevents despotism. What does it mean? Why it prevents despotism? Because here, getting a point, no president or prime minister cannot become despotic. There is a mechanism to oust them. So here government enjoys majority in general 5 years, but in the meanwhile, if it loses majority in Lok Sabha, it can be ousted from the government, and even during government tenure also, it can be ousted from government by no confidence motion. So this is very important thing. we find in parliamentary form of government. Then there is, ready alternative government. It has government in waiting also. Like you might have heard in UK there is shadow cabinet. What is shadow cabinet? Meaning land the ruling party form government or cabinet and opposition form shadow cabinet to exercise one-to-one control over governance. That is very good there. Means on the one hand, ruling party allocates division, work division among ministers. On the other hand, opposition also allocates work to different members to exercise control over minister on political issues. So one-to-one correspondence you can find here. This is also one of the important feature of parliamentary democracy. Then there is wide representation, means the all sections of society, urban, rural, rich, poor, women, men, downtrodden, everyone would be given proper representation in government. So this is also one of the very important feature of parliamentary democracy. So I have just tried to point out 5 merits of parliamentary democracy. And first I told that it facilitates harmonious relation between government, executive and legislature. Number 2, it is responsible government. Number 3, it prevents despotism. Number 4, it is ready alternative government, means prime minister is in power and prime minister in waiting in position. So whensoever situation arises, there are others to take the form of government also. This is a very important thing, and it has wide representation in governance, means all sections of society would be duly given representation in parliamentary form of government. Get your point? So, but every system has certain merits and demerits also. Like in the same way, parliamentary democracy is also some demerits. So, what are some demerits? First, it is unstable government. Why? Because there is always, you can say, fear of losing majority. There is always question of maintaining majority. So, due to this, government always sustains some type of pressures. Particularly when there is coalition government, government does not have guts to take solid or strong decision. So it has always possibility to surrender before vested interest. So these are some important limitations. So one thing I will like to tell that parliamentary form of government, there is unstable government as compared to presidential democracy. And there is no difficulty at all. Wherever tenure is concerned, very difficult mechanism to remove American president from office. But in India, it is very easy to remove government from power through no confidence motion. So this is some sort of demerits in parliamentary democracy, that it is not facilitating stability to government. Number 2, there is also no continuity of politics. So it is, you can say, derivative of first limitation. So since there is lack of continuity in governments, means there is lack of continuity of politics also. You can see presently that in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh also, there was government led by Kamal Nath. Now, due to some political difficulty, or you can say defection, government dissolved and new government took into form. Now what the politics he has persuaded is no more existence, and new government persuaded its own politics. So there is no continuity of politics. This is also very right to say. There is dictatorship of cabinet if it has absolute majority. Particularly if you see the present situation, you can find the same situation that government has absolute majority in parliament, particularly in Lok Sabha. That's why it is in position to behave like despotic ruler. So it is very, you can say, difficult. If government has full majority, then there will not be difference between, you can say, monarchism, dictatorship, or democracy. So this is also, sometimes we find that if it has lack of check and balance, then there is always chances of losing. Do you remember when Mrs. Gandhi imposed 352 to avoid election in 1975 to 1977? So this thing also takes place when you have majority. Then you can say it is against separation of power. This is obvious reason because it is alternate to presidential democracy, and presidential democracy is based on separation of power. So definitely in parliamentary democracy there is a lack of separation of power, so there will be no check and balance between, you can say, legislature and executive, and generally ball lies in the court of executive, and leadership is given to leadership to legislature is given by executive only. So this is very important limitation here. Then you can say, since ministers requires to be a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, or you can say parliament, and they don't have experience of administration, a person can become MP, can become minister also. So what happens, this is government by immature, you can say, that they are not professional, they don't have administrative exposure, they don't have experience also to run government, so they rule government. So such type of problem, such as you find in Uttar Pradesh also, that present government led by Yogi Ji has no administrative experience of running country state like Uttar Pradesh, but now leadership lies in him. So this is the situation we find. So these are some important limitations. Let me recall the limitation first: unstable government. Number 2, non-continuity of politics. Number 3, the chances of dictatorship, particularly of cabinet or prime minister. Then you can say it is against separation of power. Then you can say there is also, it is government of inexperienced or nausikhiya or amateur personnel. So these are some difficulty of parliamentary democracy. So now we have feature of parliamentary democracy, we have merits of parliamentary democracy, we have demerits of parliamentary democracy. Also we have experience of 70 years functioning of Indian parliamentary democracy. On account of empirical observation, we can say that in India, parliamentary democracy qualified all the tested, all the, you can say, situation emerged in the meanwhile, and it proved very successful in all, you can say, exam and experiments. So whensoever government became despotic, when it became authoritarian, it took its right step and restored democracy. If India, presently known as largest democracy of world, definitely parliamentary democracy is one of the most important factor working behind it. So what I mean to say, in India, although there have been some limitation from time to time, that is why some personality like Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Basant Sathe, etc., advocated for presidential democracy. They told that India should replace presidential democracy, parliamentary democracy by presidential democracy. Swan Singh committee has examined it thoroughly, and it found that parliamentary democracy is appropriate for India, so there is no need to replace it by presidential democracy. Presently also, in present we found several limitations of Indian Parliament, that the members are not very committed and honest to their functioning. They take money for asking questions in Parliament. Their conduct and behavior in Parliament is not up to mark. They resort violence. They sow money and illegitimate means to you can say diminish position of Parliament. So there may be several limitations, but despite this limitation, I tell you, no system is foolproof. Even in presidential democracy, there may be limitation, whereas in England, in you can say Canada, Japan, parliamentary democracy has done successfully its functioning. So, while saying on account of certain limitation, it is not proper to say or proper to replace it by some other form of government unthinkingly. So, what I mean to say that you don't require to think for its option. If it has some limitation, you require to correct it, but you cannot replace it by presidential democracy. One thing more I will like to say that parliamentary democracy is also basic structure of Indian constitution. So technically also it cannot be replaced by other system. So this is also one thing you require to keep in mind, that you have parliamentary democracy. This is it is one of the most important assets India have. So we have to cherish it. There is, if I say that India is the largest democracy in the world, I have support of parliamentary democracy for having for giving such type of proclamation. So there is no need to replace it at all. No need to think even. You are required to, if correct, if it has some limitation, but Indian democracy, particularly parliamentary democracy, is at par excellence. So you don't have to bother about it at all. So you just cherish it and work on it. So what I mean to say, they have 2 time questions as in BPSC, or earlier also once or more. So you take up any questions and try to write your own answer. Say in 53 and 54th question, examine the functioning of parliamentary democracy in India. Then you have to point out 2 things. First, structural part of parliamentary democracy, and second, empirical part of parliamentary democracy in India. You have to point out that in India, in last 20 years, parliamentary democracy was very good, very successful. It has also always, remained successful in examination or situation when it emerges like chaos, or you can say contingency. Then you can say India presently the largest democracy of world, and it is the most important force behind such type of achievement is parliamentary democracy. So you have to point out the 2-part answer. First, theoretical premises, and send the empirical aspect, and try to write your own. And if you have any difficulty, you can contact me. Okay, so just go writing, go ahead, do writing. This exam is written exam, and you have to prove your mettle by writing answer. So if you think that you will write at the in exam hall only, that is very serious limitation you have. It is your fault. Just start doing. No time to retreat it. So just go and start writing. Okay, thanks. Enjoy. All the best.